But one more time, welcome to another episode of SEO Talk, actually the July one. So we are almost at the end of, in the mid of the second month of summer, which is quite sad, actually, because summer is the best time, right? It's like a small life. Okay, and SEO Talk is, basically a live show where we discuss the hottest topics in SEO and organic traffic growth with the brightest SEO experts and marketers. And our today's topic, I am extremely excited about it just because it's really important, especially nowadays, to choose a winning content strategy, right? In the age of AI summarized results. And I'd love to welcome our guest speakers today, right? So we have Valentina Turchetti, Irina, Maltseva, and Charlie Clark. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me today, right? How are you doing? Good?
Oh, good.
Yeah, good.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Irina, may I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Irina. I'm an SEO consultant. I'm working mostly with SaaS companies from the United States, and I'm helping them to grow organic traffic and visibility for, probably the last 10 years. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Irina. Yeah, I think it's just, whenever you do SEO for so many years, you just you've seen almost everything, right?
Yeah, it's changed. It changed a lot, like within this last 10 years, like I would say completely.
Yeah, I know. I feel you. Valentina, thank you for joining me today. So could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. I'm Valentina and I'm international content lead. So my expertise is content marketing for lead generation. And I am the co-founder of YourDigitalweb, that is a SEO, a digital marketing agency. We are based in Italy, but we work worldwide, both with B2C and B2B clients. And I'm also the co-founder of the Marketing Business Summit, that is an international event about digital marketing that takes place every year in Milan, here in Italy.
Thank you very much, Valentina, for joining us. I really love Italy. Really envy, you being based in my most favorite country.
Yeah, it's a very pleasure for me.
Ciao, and the way you look at life is just brilliant, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Charlie, what about you? I know that you're based in Barcelona, right?
Yeah, I am indeed. My name's Charlie. I'm the founder at Minty. So we're based here in Barcelona. I've got an SEO and digital PR agency. We work with worldwide clients, but mainly focusing in SEO, digital PR, and content marketing. Been running the agency for around 6 years. Before that, I was a lot more hands-on with SEO when I worked in-house. But yeah, really excited of all of the changes over the past few months. So yeah, it's been really interesting to discuss it today.
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much, first of all, Charlie, for joining us today. And I just want to tell you guys something, because Charlie, before we had a quick chat, right, with all the guys, and Charlie told me that he did a massive research, right, before joining us on this topic. And I just want to ask you, Charlie, right, you will be the first one for this question, I think, just because you did your homework, right?
Yeah, well, you put me on the spot now, but it's fine.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so what are your overall thoughts on AI in SERPs? Right, so just what are your overall feelings about that? And since you really done a great research on this topic, we would love to hear, right, your perspective first of all.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, first of all, I'm talking from an agency owner perspective. So a lot of what I do is like kind of managing how can we translate how the landscape's evolving into, I guess, managing client expectations and getting them better results. I think when like Google first rolled out AI results, it was like, I mean, it made headline news because it was putting out a lot of incorrect information. A lot of memes were going viral, some of them real, some of them fake. But I think since then they rolled it back, and we've seen a lot more improvements in the world of AI. So the most interesting thing I think I've been looking into over the past few weeks is retrieval augmented generation, and how that is basically looking to use, I guess, live websites, like real-time information, to provide results, rather than, I think, previously, like with some of the first LLMs that were developed, quite common to pull out incorrect data. So I guess one of the most interesting things that I'm looking forward to seeing roll out is how AI is going to start returning real-time results in the search engines. Like we work with a lot of travel clients, so I guess things such as like booking tickets, live events, all this kind of stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see how that is rolled out into the search engines, and definitely something that I need to keep an eye on, or we need to keep an eye on as SEOs.
Yeah, because you know what, talking about the travel industry, I think Google has a plenty of data, right? So they really can suggest for you hotels straight away. They can really suggest for you flights straight away based on your actual location, right?
Yeah.
But the only problem that, right, the last time, and I actually mentioned that during the last SEO Talk episode, right, that it's I don't really know whether you have this problem as well, but whenever I try to look for local results, right, well, not talking about Google Maps, right, but just looking at local results as SERPs, right, it always shows me in the Netherlands very misleading information. So, you know, suggesting me services in the UK. Well, I know that we are quite close. I understand, right?
Yeah.
But not so close. I mean, like English channel is still between us, right? So, you know, and that type of things, they are quite misleading. I'm not sure what's wrong with them, right? But if they continue doing that, then I just wonder about the usability, right, of this, you know, quick tips, AI generated results, whatever I can tell. And I just want to ask Valentina, right, about your thoughts on the current state of things, right, more or less.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of, you know, maybe summarized results that are kind of appearing for your clients, right, and so on?
Yeah, sure. So I have to say that the Italian market has not been affected as US or other countries, so from a SEO perspective. But I think that AI results can be clicked more or maybe earlier because they are so ready to use for the user, but I don't think that AI results will substitute completely other kinds of results. So I think that the user also will click on other SEO results. So I think that SEO will be even more challenging, and there will be a lot of effort, a very hard work to do for us SEO. But it's clear that AI is a revolution. But I agree also with you, Alex, and with Charlie. Charlie, when he was talking about real-time results, and also with you, Alex, because we can think about errors. So AI is a revolution. It's normal. We all know that. But AI can bring errors. For example, I see a lot of errors in my job, daily activity about creating content. I see several grammatical, syntactical errors. So, for example, in Italian, we say lo stereotipo, and ChatGPT or Gemini got me il stereotipo. And this is a very effective error, we can say. So I think that SERPs will be transformed by AI, but I don't think that this revolution is now so strong. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Valentina, that AI results, well, they are not perfect at all, because we have to remember that we are the ones that actually taught AI. So we wrote this SEO optimized text, we've been hiring these Indian copywriters, right?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
the quality is kind of
Yeah.
a little bit so depends on the quality of the copywriters and the overall expertise and so on.
Yeah.
Irina,
It's up
what
to
do you
us.
think? Yeah, absolutely.
So
Irina, what do you think about AI summarized results?
I have two opinions. First, as a Google user, and like a second, more of as an SEO specialist. As a Google user, I'm excited because since ChatGPT started to evolve, I switched asking quick questions, like informational searches, etc. to ChatGPT, and I realized that I started to search less for informational, quick stuff on Google. And then I started to use a different tool. And obviously, it's not convenient that you use one tool for one thing, another tool for different thing. Basically, you want something like all in one. As an SEO professional, I would say I was a little concerned, especially the first days. Probably not even a little, as no one knew what to expect. The previous year, everyone was talking about an SG rollout, how you should prepare for the SG rollout.
Yeah.
It was so many different articles, tools, etc. And there were a lot of talks, and no one knew exactly what to expect. And when it actually happened, and it was not an SG, it was a different tool,
Everyone was very confused, right? Everyone was,
Yeah.
we've been preparing for something completely different. Could you please switch it to a previous, right? Because a lot of courses have been already created, right?
Exactly. So, now, one thing that I'm noticing, that these guides on how to optimize the content for SGs, they just rename how to optimize it for AI overviews. So it's kind of a quick update that they are making. But
you just need to change tires from the winter to summer, right?
Yeah. So the first thing I started to worry, okay, what's gonna happen? Because during the first week, second week, we started to see a real drop with some of my clients, because we started to see a lot of AI reviews appearing, and all of my clients are in the United States. So it was concerning. And then and also, okay, how do you communicate it with the clients, how with the board, etc., because everything was well, and then you see an insane drop in clicks and impressions, but still positions are the same or even growing. So basically, as a professional, you do a great job, but there is an issue on Google side, and you need to do something with that. But now, since it's been almost 2 months now, it's more or less stabilized. It's not that kind of an issue now. I think it's kind of another thing that Google developed and will keep improving in the future, and we just need to adapt to it rather than panicking, stressing, etc. Just adapting, I would say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Irina, for sharing this. And actually, you almost asked my second question, because I had a follow-up question about the loss of traffic that your client has had. And if we kind of talk about in percentage, right, before AI summarized results and comparing with now, what will be the percentage of the lost traffic on a general note, right, before and after?
It still fluctuates a lot. So every week, every 2 weeks, you see a different number. But I would say the ones that were the most affected, the clients who are more in a cybersecurity niche, where they there are a lot of AI reviews, probably to 60 to 50% of our searches we see AI reviews. So traffic drop was at around 20-30%, but it's not stable. I cannot say that it's exactly, because it's going up and down. But
but that is interesting, right? But it's kind of covering all type of search queries, including short and long terms, or there is a particular logic, right? Or it's just kind of scattered around?
To be honest, I don't see any logic now. First of all, they will
Great. We have more and more
a little
problems.
bit because I think AI, I just want to have a small comment, because I've been asking my husband, he's a developer. I was like, well, AI is a cool thing, but how can I understand that AI is just working in this or in that way? He's like, it's kind of a black box, because AI is a model that's educating itself, which means the starting point is here, but then you don't really know what's next.
Yeah.
And I think
So,
it's
yeah.
interesting. Google's using all of our kind of content and websites as a training ground, but it's like you said that we have to answer to, well, either clients or our managers on what's going on in the industry. And, you know, I think everyone in the SEO industry has been saying for years, like factors such as click-through rates are, you know, they're a ranking factor. And one of the most important ranking factors that's coming out, you know, more and more. And then with these AI summarized results, you know, these click-through rates are just going to drop. So that we have to work out, you know, how to navigate that and then explain, you know, how that's going to work for our clients' websites as well. So it's like, you know, I think Google have definitely, for considering most of the SEOs have created all the content on the internet, they've put us in a bit of a situation where we have to kind of, you know, fight through it every single day.
Yeah, but I could say, right, we can turn this around. Sorry for interrupting you, Valentina. I just have a really good joke about this. It's like, you know, asking each client, do you enjoy using AI summarized results? If they tell you yes, it's like your users are also enjoying using them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'll use that one in the next meeting.
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Valentina.
In Italian, we say we are working with covered eyes because we are working every day, testing every day. So we exactly know where we are in this moment right now, but we don't know what next steps will be. So it's a real challenge. So it's also satisfying from one end, but from another one, it's so difficult to work in this way. We
can focusing is no longer a thing. It's kind of, you can predict maybe what will be in a week or so, but then it's like long-term focusing is a bit difficult, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there is no, like, for now, I'd say there is like no tools to measure like the impact of AI reviews. There is only one, which I started to use Zip.
Yeah, I heard that one of them was the position tracking tool, right? Which one, Charlie?
ZipTie, yeah, I've used that.
Yeah,
as well.
because I've heard somewhere like sometimes on LinkedIn you hear something, you see something, then forget it's just slip in your mind. Absolutely, but I heard that some launches like, "Woo, we launched it." I was like, "Wow, that is quite interesting." If you really catch this.
ZipTie is not bad, but it's like I believe the guys just like developed it probably like a month ago, a few weeks like ago, because it's really, but still it helps you to see at least like some pictures basically and see some data on how many for how many keywords you have this AI reviews displayed, for how many AI reviews you have your article or like whatever, like your website mentioned as a source. It just like gives you just like some general information, but still I actually know it will be interesting if they can pull data like from Google Search Console and kind of connect if it was if there's a traffic drop, probably it's kind of related to AI review like impacting it or so, but still just like one tool from what I see. And I tested a few extensions, but they were not good ones, like very, very buggy. So I believe all of the big players are developing something right now, like Ahrefs, SEMrush. I saw actually
that might be very handy. By the way, have you ever heard something from Google? Do they plan to add something in their beautiful Google Search Console? Oh, they're like, a blind game.
I don't know. Probably at some point. I didn't see any news on this. Probably.
Me too.
Yeah, probably it will be the same as with featured snippets. But now the situation is very weird because for many searches where you can see the AI reviews displayed, you can also see featured snippets. So for me, just like, okay, like why?
Google is competing, right? It's just because they don't really, you know what? I feel like at some point they don't really control this no longer. So it just kind of, the problem that happened with them, that they kind of created this kind of a split AI model, like, whatever it is, it's just kind of working right, educating itself, and at some point it started to take everything over, right? Just appearing whenever it feels that it's relevant without even kind of with no control. I think that was the main problem. They lost control over this.
I feel like they had to
happening.
they had to test it, but I don't think they really understood the lengths it would go to. I mean, especially after this whole partnership with Reddit as well, and some of the results it was pulling back out. So yeah, I think that they've mostly rolled it back for now, and like looking to slowly reintroduce elements of it. But hopefully they've taken some learnings and improved them.
Yeah, I think, they're also under the pressure of stakeholders because they promised something, right? And just nowadays it's a very hot topic. So they can't really roll everything or kind of put everything back and say, oh, we just don't really want this. Because obviously it's no longer possible, right? Because, they created such a huge, right, news effect, right? They've been talking about this on conferences, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like this, like a PR campaign, most probably around this was too huge. Yeah. So they can't say right now we just failed. Sorry, guys.
No, they can't.
I think one of the problems that they need to address, though, is that if you do destroy consumer trust too much, we've already seen like a massive shift with getting their news from social media, even places like TikTok, YouTube, even though YouTube's Google owned, but like just outside of that traditional SERP. So it's interesting, like that shift's happened, especially within the younger generation. So yeah, they need to. I know they're trying to please their stakeholders, but they need to be doing it responsibly as well, I think.
Yeah. So we actually have a question. I think it's worth picking it up and try to collectively answer it. Guys, you agree that Reddit is now out ranking literally any site. So we have two things, right? AI summarized results, Reddit and LinkedIn. So they are more or less like the top results. And I think it's quite interesting, right? So thank you very much, Janice, for the question. I write reviews, but Google prioritizes Reddit for reviews, right? Also, I write tutorials, but Google answers how to questions in the AI summarized overviews. So how can I still get traffic to my blog post? Which is a great question, actually, right? So it's just exactly what I wanted to ask you guys about, content strategy, about how to create content if, right, more or less the traffic is stolen in different ways, right? So you can't really get much traffic, whether there is any sense on focusing much on, let's say, so-called SEO channel. I mean, like organic channel, I would say organic channel from Google, I would say, right? Maybe Irina, you can start. You can pick this up.
Yeah, sure. So obviously, Google is like trying to answer with AI reviews more with like long tail questions, like 5, 6, like more words. The more words you have in your query, the more chances like that you will see an AI review there. They show less on the kind of the bottom of the funnel keywords, like buy something, like something with a commercial intent, etc. So like when we speak about top of the funnel, more likely you will need to compete like with your competitors, like organic competitors in SERP, but also with Google. Does it mean you only should focus on bottom of the funnel keywords? Probably you should prioritize them because the chances are lower that they will appear like in AI reviews. But from my experience, like in different niches, I know that those like bottom of the funnel keywords are like limited. You cannot find just like hundreds or like like thousands of them. So at some point you would need to cover top of the funnel and stuff. But also it's important for the like overall like user journey. You cannot just focus like on a sales related keywords. You would need to do everything. For now, we don't have like a lot of like data on probably how to get the most of AI reviews, but from what I'm seeing is that it's kind of related to your position on SERP. So basically, if you are ranking on the first page on Google, there is like, I think like 50% chances, like a higher that your result will be displayed like as one of the source in AI reviews. So I would say, okay, if you want to and if you need like to write articles, content on this, like how to long tail things, first of all, make sure that you're ranking high, do all of the like high quality content, bring helpful content to your users. What Google keeps repeating, like build great backlinks, push it to the top, And then probably you will be able to get traffic from both, like from your organic result, and also Google will decide to give you some nice feature spot in AI reviews. So kind of do both. It's yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with Irina. Totally, completely. And I would also add this point. I think that to create a very winning content strategy, you have to focus not just on user intents, keyword research, things like that, but also and mainly on your target, your user. So you have to create and analyze your user, not just from demographics point of view, but also you have to analyze pains and gains, the customer journey of your target, your user. So you have to hard work very hardly in, for example, collecting micro data, creating survey. So you have to understand everything about your target, which are its needs, its behaviors online, of course. And also you have to deeply understand where your target is not just present, but active. So, for example, I can be present on LinkedIn, for example, of course, but not active. So it is just an example about social media, but we can also translate this example for our organic channel, for example, blogs. So I think that the key point is the deeply understanding of your target, of your user.
Yeah. I'd agree with both of you, and I can definitely add to it as well. But just to answer Janice's question, I'm assuming that you meant define rather than definite, but the bottom of the funnel keyword would be, I mean, it's hard. I don't know what your website's about, but say if it was informational content website around travel, the bottom of the funnel would be the, buy plane tickets to Milan, where the top of the funnel could be best restaurants to eat at in Milan. So like you say, I think those top of the funnel keywords are going to be a lot more difficult to be able to rank for. And building authority to the website seems to be definitely one of the indicators that we're seeing. We've definitely seen a lot of review sites in the SERPs be dominated by the likes of, like, the Forbes, the big websites that have always dominated the space for a long time. And I think, in all honesty, there's not actually enough room for everyone in the top of the SERPs anymore as well. So, like, looking at things from that perspective, there's still the chance to be ranking in them, but there are people now replicating sites at the click of the button in the Black Hat community, or we've all seen the SEO heist on Twitter. That kind of thing is happening. So I think we still need to focus on, like, the fundamentals of SEO, but we also need to look at building that authority, not just from things like backlinks and digital PR, but also, like Valentina touched on, those social signals. Repurpose that informational content over social channels. Can you make YouTube videos out of it? Can you make TikTok videos out of it? There's plenty of ways to diversify, but also, link back to your core website as well, and make sure that those social signals are, being passed through and building that authority.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie. Yeah, I think that you have also to work not just on organic growth, lead generation, but also on demand generation. For example, I see in many projects that demand generation is not considered. And I think that this is a very quite and strong error.
Yeah, well, can I share something? I might have a bit different perspective on this. But I think if you can't win the battle, right, in a straightforward way, why not to join this army in a different way of being present and starting to acquire traffic on LinkedIn, on Reddit? So changing the focus, right? So changing the channel, because I think it's quite misleading to think about organic traffic and put it kind of equals to SEO traffic or something like that. That has been like that for ages, but I think it's no longer there. So for me, right, organic traffic acquisition is a bit different. It's bigger, and it's all about, right, the ways of how you can actually generate this traffic. And if it works on Reddit, right? If you can effectively attract traffic on Reddit, then go on Reddit and just attract this traffic, write content there. So why not to use other websites, which actually, you know, we all have that parasite SEO, which is actually the logic is the same, right? Using some other websites to attract traffic, right? So the main goal is basically to generate this traffic, and it doesn't matter whether you're generating it directly from search engine results or through the other websites that are ranking very well on Google. By the way, I think that the risk diversification is quite lower, just because if you are featured on a wide range of websites that are currently ranking very well, then if some changes, right, happens at some point in search engine results, you're still winning, because it doesn't matter whether it is or that, right, a website, if you are featured everywhere more or less. And that is the reason I think, right, if you have a product, right, you have to be featured on all possible listicle posts on the web. Well, it's good for your brand awareness, it's good for your referral traffic, it's good for your visibility in terms of, let's say, so-called SEO traffic, right? So that is my perspective. But we have something else from Janice. If someone wants to actually answer this, please go ahead. Yeah, it's kind of question is, I give information about effective marketing strategy, so I should go after bottom of the funnel, which is long tail, well, most probably keywords, if that's right.
Just a feedback. So bottom of the funnel. No, that wouldn't be longer tail. Bottom of the funnel would be more.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, shorter tail transactional. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is a bit of misconception there.
I think if you're giving information about effective marketing strategies and you're creating content and publishing it on your website, you should, you know, some of the things we've been talking about here, such as, you know, repurposing that through channels, like where are your audience consuming their news? I would assume with what you're writing about there, LinkedIn would be a great channel. X, not so sure nowadays, but definitely in the past it would have been a place where business owners and like business people kind of discuss. So if you can research the channels where your audience are consuming that information, you know, publishing on there is going to be a great way to be able to diversify and, I guess, mitigate that risk from Google taking up all that market share from the content on your site.
I would add, just like completely agree with what you said, Charlie. Just I would add that not for all of the informational searches, there is like in a specific niches, there is everything covered with AI overviews. So probably first like do like an extensive keyword research and then see like for which there is like lower competition where you can be like considering your website, domain authority, etc. Like your like what you have at the moment, and also see where there is like no AI reviews, where is like more chances to actually be on the number one spot and get all of the traffic, all of the visibility for you. Because like the worst I see right now is I think in a security and also like healthcare niches, it's like up to 50-60% of the searches they have AI reviews, but there is like another half that don't have any AI reviews. So probably you can target all of those like informational long tail keywords, because in other niches like in e-commerce, let's say there is only like around, as I mentioned, like 1% of keywords have AI reviews. So it depends from niche to niche. I don't know exactly about the niche of like effective marketing strategies, but I assume it can be somewhere like in between. So not crazy, a lot of AI overviews.
Yeah, we just have their HubSpot and MailChimp. That is fairly enough. And then Reddit with LinkedIn. So you kind of, you know, the first 5-6 results are just kind of occupied just by default, and you can't really outrun them. Yeah. So, you know, it's just a little bit like that nowadays, I think, for all more or less B2B. Well, for sure, for well-established niches, right? We have some niches, let's say, like more less established, like LinkedIn outreach, for instance, where, you know, not all the well-known brand they're ranking well, just because for different reasons they don't really cover this topic. So I think, you know, what I would add actually about AI summarized results, but that is actually working across, I think, any niche, that you will think over on a general note in terms of SEO efforts, I would say, right? Whenever you think, okay, is it a low effort, or oh, this niche is very hard to tackle. I think the younger the niche and the less Google understand the niche per se, the more chances to rank there, just because there is very little understanding and knowledge. And there is another thing that might be useful here is like, if you can create your own niche by any chance, create your own terms, then you will be the winner, just because, you create the whole niche. But it's very tricky just because you also, like with iPhones, let's say, right? You have to create a completely new mindset, a completely new target audience, right? So the whole idea requires a lot of effort, and you just kind of need to most probably use a lot of marketing. So it's no longer about SEO, it's about marketing. I think Google is really pushing us to do a good marketing. That is my understanding. What is Google looking for from us, right? Because first of all, we are not SEOs, we have to be good marketers, right? And even though we kind of sometimes we prioritize a bit wrong things, we say, oh, okay, we need to create another listicle post just because the other top ranking pages are looking like that. In reality, right, most probably we need to approach this a bit differently, especially nowadays. That is my biggest takeaway. But guys, I just want to ask you, and thank you very much for the great conversation. What will be your biggest takeaway from this conversation, and just maybe, your best advice, right, to our listeners? Who wants to start? Charlie?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear everyone's point of views. But I think just after some of the topics we discussed, I think when we speak about a lot of these results, I think you said it, Alex. Like sometimes you just need to look at the SERPs and realize that if you're up against Reddit, Forbes or LinkedIn, people need to put a lot more focus into that initial strategy. We can't go out as SEOs now and be like, hey, let's just publish 50 blog posts and do the keyword research. We need to put a lot more effort into that strategy. Start looking at the competitive landscape, not just from our direct competitors, but the actual competitors in the SERPs for the keywords that we're looking to rank for. Are we up against AI? Are we up against these, big dominating players? And, really, really rethinking how we deliver our content strategies and the best way to kind of reach our target audiences with all the challenges that we face. So yeah, a lot to think about, but I think also probably quite a lot of opportunities that we can all introduce to our day-to-day work as well. So I think it'll make it a bit more exciting.
Thank you very much, Charlie. What do you think, Valentina, on this topic, right? What will be your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, so I think I have 3 big takeaways that I would like to share with all your and our community. So the first one, please focus on target. So I don't want to be repetitive, but it's extremely important. So when creating a strategy, firstly, consider your target needs. The second one is about KPIs and goals. So please set up very measurable and actionable KPIs. So for example, if you are a startup or a new brand on the market, you can think to get 50% more of revenue into 2 weeks or 2 months, but that is unrealistic. And the last one, it's about AI. So AI is an help for us also in our daily routine, job routine, but we have to control an AI and not the opposite one. So AI doesn't have to control our job, but it's the opposite. So we can use AI as a tool to work easier, faster, but it's just a tool.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Valentina. I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much for sharing your biggest takeaways. I'm more than certain that our listeners will enjoy, and the one that will be watching our recording will also find it's extremely insightful. Irina, what will be your biggest aha moment, whatever it is, takeaway for our listeners and your advice?
Yeah, I would say try not to focus as an SEO specialist, business owner, etc., on how to hack AI overviews, because it's not the thing you should be focusing on, because there are so many articles on how to hack, how to appear there, how to do this, how to do that. Instead, what you should focus on is just like better understand your audience and create like really helpful, great content for them that will help them throughout their journey, or help them like to fix their problems. Because if you invest all of the time like hacking Google, you won't actually be able to connect with your audience. And I think you should prioritize all of the basic things first. User research, talk to them, understand what they need, create great content, optimize it, make it like perfect, better than all of your competitors, and then you won't need to think about how to appear and overviews, etc., etc. It will just happen like automagically. So that's it, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Irina. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. But I've been thinking of this really for quite a long time, and I think at some point I've really starting to forgetting about how to be a good marketer. And I really appreciate Google for really poking me and telling, hey, really, you have to be a good marketer. You need to stop prioritizing your personal needs or desires, because, okay, we want to write content for Google, we want to write content in order to rank, but that is actually prioritizing my own needs or, someone else's wishes over the user's needs, right? So I think, well, we are really coming into a new era, and I'm really excited to see how we are all going to strive and what will happen next. Okay, guys, the last thing, but quite important, how our listeners can connect with you, right? So could you please share the best way to find you, to connect you, to follow you? Valentina, could you please share?
Yeah, you can easily follow me on LinkedIn because I'm very active on it. So I'm daily active. So please add me on your LinkedIn.
Okay, so guys, please follow Valentina on LinkedIn. Please make sure to connect with her. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, LinkedIn's normally the place where I share most brand marketing related tips. I'm quite active. You're not as active on X anymore, but still on there, a little bit more lighthearted. So yeah, give us a follow on either of those channels if you want to be in touch.
Yeah, since Twitter is no longer Twitter, I'm also no longer active there. They lost me.
Yeah, engagement.
I just don't really want to be active on X. It doesn't sound fancy, right? Yeah. Irina, what about you?
Same here. I don't remember the last time I posted something on Twitter. Probably like a year ago or something when they became X. So
really, they lost us, right? This really didn't help them gain new users.
And Mastodon didn't work out, so you can find me and follow on LinkedIn.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, that is the biggest takeaway. The right channel will be LinkedIn. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for joining me today. Really appreciate all your insights. It was a pure pleasure hosting this great panel discussion. And so, well, I hope to see you at one of our upcoming SEO Talks as guests, right? And wishing you a very, very nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.